Hello and welcome to this video. Have you ever been concerned about what the government of your country is built upon? Are you afraid of your rights being violated? Have you ever imagined what our daily lives could be like? And what lifestyle would we employ to fit in a country or society where the government does not exist? How could life be in the state of nature? Today's topic is the main and most important element of the government of the political and philosophical theory of John Locke, also known and often referred to as the father of modern liberalism and empiricism. John Locke is the author of the impactful political theory foundations of many current republics and democratic countries' constitutions around the world. When one thinks of a democratic constitution, what vivid images cross their minds? Could it be similar to the picture on this slide, the panem of the Hunger Games? No? Well, maybe it's just me then. In a theoretical analogy between this trilogy's political theme and John Locke's government, many concerns regarding civil individual rights and laws can be raised. For example, how could it be acceptable to send chosen members of the communities of each district of the country to a wild battle arena from which most cases none of them would be able to come out alive? Similarly, how could it be acceptable to allow the death sentence to be the right punishment for an individual's wrongdoings? Should the government of a country own such authority over the lives of its people? Locke's theory of political legitimacy is tied to his views on individual rights. The legitimacy of political authority, according to Locke, is grounded in the government's ability to protect and respect the natural rights of individuals as agreed upon the social contract. As a government fails in this duty, it risks losing its legitimacy and individuals retain the right to alter or abolish it. John Locke was an English philosopher and political theorist who had a profound impact on the Enlightenment and modern political thought. He lived during a crucial period of intellectual and political advancement in England. He studied at the Westminster School and later at Christ Church, Oxford, where he developed an interest in philosophy and medicine. In 1690s, he wrote his most famous and influential work in this field named Two Treatises of Government. In the first treatise, he refutes the concept of the divine right of kings, and in the second treatise, he develops his theory of government, natural rights, and the social contract. The second treatise, in particular, is a cornerstone of liberal political thought. Locke argued that individuals possess certain inherent rights by virtue, inspired by Aristotle's concept of virtue, of their nature as human beings. These rights are considered natural because they are not dependent on the laws or customs of any particular society or community, rather they are fundamental to human existence. Locke's ideas on natural rights are prominently discussed in his work, especially in Two Treatises of the Government. The liberty of man is to be free from any superior power on earth, and not to be under the authority of men, but only to have the law of nature for his rule. The three primary natural rights identified by Locke are life, liberty, and property. The right to life is the most fundamental natural right. Locke argued that every individual has the inherent right to live and to defend their own life against threats. Liberty. Locke emphasized the right to liberty, which includes the freedom to pursue one's own interests and make choices without arbitrary inference. This involves the freedom to think, act, and own property. Locke considered the right to property as a natural right. He asserted that individuals have the right to acquire, own, and dispose of property as an extension of their labor. Locke's conception of property is broader than just land or possessions. It encompasses the fruit of one's labor and efforts. Locke believed that this natural right existed in the state of nature, a key element in John's political philosophy as well as hypothetical condition before the establishment of civil society and government. When individuals enjoyed these rights in the state of nature, Locke acknowledged the potential for conflict and the need for a social contract to secure and protect these rights in an organized society. More concretely, the state of nature can be compared with a state of high consciousness beings in the wild, virgin nature, but with a difference for humans. Because in humans, there is also the presence of moral consciousness in addition to the highest self-consciousness. Not to be confused with Aristotle's idea that these values were innate to the individual, however. For John Locke, such values would be imposed by already present ideas of the parents and by the community where the offsprings are raised in. Through other elements of his political theory, such as education and politics, Locke explained that the concept of a tabula rasa, an empty or blank board of built-in mental content that is filled with ideas and mechanisms that already exist and have been projected to other individuals already too. The main aspects of Locke's concept of the state of nature start with equality and freedom. In the state of nature, according to our philosophers, individuals are inherently equal and free. Equality in this context does not mean identical wealth or abilities, but rather an equality of fundamental rights. Each individual has the same natural rights as any other, and no one has a natural right to dominate others. And it continues with the concept of the natural law. Although the state of nature lacks a formal legal system, Locke argued that it is not a state of anarchy, such as that of the arena of Hunger Games, for instance. Instead, he believed that there is a natural law that governs human behavior in the state of nature. This natural law is based on reason and requires individuals to respect the rights of others, so it is not that similar to Darwinism either. It continues with self-preservation and property. Locke emphasized the importance of self-preservation and property in the state of nature. Nevertheless, there are limits of the state of nature. Where the state of nature is a condition of freedom and equality, Locke recognized that it is not a perfect state either. The absence of a common authority to resolve disputes might lead to conflicts. Individuals in pursuit of their self-interest might not always act in accordance with natural law, potentially leading to the violation of others' rights. Therefore, the need for a social contract and a civil society is born. The social contract involves individuals agreeing to establish a political authority to protect their natural rights and also resolve disputes. As a result, Locke's social contract theory is a theoretical framework and legitimacy of political authority. Such an authority is created by the people for the people, as we say in democracy. Now that the concept of natural law and natural foundation rights is clear and explained, we'll go further to what Locke argued about these two elements. He had three main arguments with regard to equality and natural law, individuals' rights and self-preservation, and limits on natural rights in the state of nature. Locke affirms that in the state of nature, individuals are naturally equal. This equality is not about physical or intellectual attributes, but instead on the equal possessions of natural rights. Each person has the same fundamental rights, including the rights to live, liberty, the rights to live, be free, and own his property as a result of his labor. Locke argues that this equality is derived from the idea that humans are created by a common creator and are therefore equal in the eyes of the natural law. The principles of natural law guide individuals in their moral principles and interactions in the state of nature. Locke argues that these rights are inherent to human nature and are not contingent on social or governmental recognition. The right to property in particular stems from an individual's mixing of their labor with the resources of nature, providing a basis for ownership. While Locke recognizes the existence of natural rights in the state of nature, he acknowledges that there can be challenges and conflicts. Individuals may violate natural law, leading to disputes and potential harm to others. In such cases, individuals have the right to punish those who violate natural rights. Locke introduces the idea that individuals have the right to enforce natural law and punish aggressors in the absence of a common authority. But however, he recognizes the limitations of his arrangement, leading to establishment of civil society and government through social contract to address the shortcomings of the state of nature. I believe that each person embodies the necessary instincts to survive and innocence in their intentions towards others, until their own fundamental and/or human rights are violated. Once these two elements are lost, people are prone to even harm others for their gains and achievements. Inspired by the cause and effects of the events that follow in the last movie of the Hunger Games trilogy, The Ballad of Snakes and Songbirds, an example of such a behavior can be given. The climax of the movie takes place when the protagonist loses his innocence after he played the main role in the violation of his closest friend's most fundamental human right, the right to life. Snow sent a recording of his friend's rebellious speech to the game's creator, not necessarily intending to expose him, but taking the risk to do so, thinking more about his gains and experiencing the hunger to glory or escape of the punishment for his previous actions in the movie. Anyways, back to Locke's argument, I do not have an idea of how human and the world we experience through our senses have been created, in opposition to Locke's idea that a common creator has constructed them. Because I do not share the same ideas, I wouldn't rely only on his argument to acknowledge the existence of the fundamental human rights. Instead, I agree and support the fact that such rights are the basis of the civil society and should be expended in a reasonable and agreeable manner further to the continuously changing reality we live in. For his second argument, that these rights are inherent to human nature and are not contingent on social or governmental recognition because they stem from an individual's mixing of their labor with the resources of nature, I think and feel that I completely agree. Beings should be allowed to own what they have put an effort into achieving and owning, because it is fair to get back as much as you invest in a cause or particular activity that requires one's labor. Some might argue that life is not fair and therefore people shouldn't make fairness their intention or goal, but I believe that it is because of these types of mindsets that the world is not fair in the first place. And which now brings us to the last argument, with which I agree completely as well. In the absence of the will to cause harm, the members of the society would act fairly. For illegal activities committed by individuals who have agreed to the social contract by living in the space and with the people who also agreed to obey such a constitution, for illegal violations of those mutual agreements and laws in the social contract, I believe there should be a punishment. There is a lot more to this other element of John Locke's political and philosophical theory, as well as the education and legislation sphere of discussion. Even so, this video is coming to an end, and for more details and collaboration, please make sure to check future content. Thank you for watching and see you next time.